Party people, what's going on? This is Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com. Kind of dark right now, but I want to welcome you guys back to another special episode of Inside the Valley, the podcast that's devoted to relentless coverage of A&T football. And of course, I got my two co-hosts here tonight to help me out. First up, former A&T wide receiver and a Green, my man, Dougie Fresh Brown. What's going on, Doug?
Hey, what's up, guys? Aggie Pride.
Man, I'm trying to get my writing right. Yeah, definitely Aggie Pride. And of course, man in the middle speaks in facts, he does not riddle. Long-time A&T insider, a beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades. One of the first season ticket holders at Aggie Stadium, and now the current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF. Our right-hand man, Craig Turner. What's going on, CT?
Yeah, what's going on tonight, guys? Back for another week, Aggie Pride, and let's go. Let's get into it.
My studio lighting is pretty much the way my whole ego is after Elon, man. Kind of down in darkness right here because we got our heinies whipped pretty good over in Alamance County on Saturday night. I was fortunate enough to sit next to Doug Brown. Well, near him, I saw you in the stands, man, and you were, I saw you trying to get the defensive bench kind of riled up, man. But that was 27-3 loss, third straight loss of the season. We all said we didn't want to go that route. We didn't want to have 0-3 start for the second year in a row. But unfortunately, we couldn't get that offense on track. And the defense wore down, and they have some of the worst tackling I think we've had all year. To be honest with you, it was kind of a comedy of errors. Everything kind of just nothing really was clicking. Special teams was all right, but then Tamon Cook goes down and makes a great tackle. I thought as a gunner on kick return, on punt return, and he ends up getting pushed into the returner and getting called for targeting. He's out, so he's our probably best wide receiver, our best kickoff returner, and our best, defensive guy on special teams. And that's in one full swoop. We lose all three of them. The three best players on the team. We lose all three of them, and that was kind of all she wrote from there. But Doug, so what was your takeaway from Saturday night in Alamance?
Tough loss, man. Obviously, we didn't perform as well as we'd like to on offense. Still struggled to move the ball. But I always gonna go from the kids' perspective and the player perspective. I was happy to see the kids did show some fight at times. Had some really cool moments out there. Got a chance to see, like you said, the guys up close and right behind the bench and hear some of the conversations and hear some of the coaching that was going on. So overall, you got to take it as a learning experience. Again, there's no preseason in college football, so a lot of those guys are still getting, their fair share of first bit of snaps and opportunities. So I'm always happy when the guys get an opportunity to play. So seeing some of those guys get their first snap or their first crack at getting some quality snaps and, guys like Big Brock Stooks, man, there was a moment out there when Cesar Monaro went down, man, and I looked over to the side and Cesar was coaching up Brock and, really giving some instruction on how to get the dud out there. So that was pretty cool, man. And I always dig into those moments, man, and like to see those sideline interactions. So, again, tough loss. It's part of the process from what I understand. So just hang in there, guys, and keep fighting, man. Keep fighting.
Craig, you make the trip down to Elon Saturday night?
Oh yeah. I was there, and amongst a lot of our viewers and listeners, and it was the most interesting. It was the most interesting conversations in the stands. I thought the game was went pretty much how I expected to, but I think the key was we had 2 missed opportunities in that third quarter that I think pretty much sealed it. When they had that 30-yard back-to-back or 2 dead ball fouls off the same play. 30 yards of penalties against them. They kick off from I think the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
We get the ball inside the 40. We did absolute, we get down there and we turn it over. Or turn it over on downs, yeah. And then the next time, we get a good interception. We make a play defensively, a big play defensively. Another chance right back to back on back-to-back series, and we come away and throw an INT going the other way. So it's missed opportunities. You punch it in those two instances. If you can punch it in, you got a much different ball game, and you just can't do that against good football teams.
And like I say, Elon is not a juggernaut by any account. I thought had a real good running back. I was really impressed by their running back.
Two good backs.
They were stable. They had a stable. And
Yeah.
Craig, I don't know if all our listeners are going to the website during the week and checking out your columns, because you were being almost prophetic this year. You didn't, you're a big time A&T. I ain't gonna call you a homer, but you're optimistic Aggie. But even you,
I'm a diehard Aggie. Make no mistake about that. I am a diehard Aggie.
But you picked Elon to win.
But I'm also a realist. I was a realist going into that game, and I just didn't feel like we had not shown enough consistency on offense. We had played in spurts the previous week against Central, and we had not seen enough consistency in our ability to convert third and short, third and medium. And without any kind of proven passing game, even a proven short game, because I don't look for teams to try to hit. I don't, home run balls. They're kind of like long runs. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Most of the time you don't.
You can't bank on it.
You can't depend on that. Yeah, you can't make a living on that. And I just had not seen that going into that game, and I felt that it was, like I said last week, I thought it was a winnable ball game against a team that we could play with, but we just have to play better and execute better, and we would have to do some things defensively and offensively to attack where their weakness was, which is really their pass defense had been their weakness through these first few games, and without a passing game, you can't attack it. And I just didn't see it.
And they can load the box. You see, they're not even a great passing defense, but they load the box and they put their guys on the island.
Yeah.
And what's the threat? I mean, you have for 3 games, we've had no legitimate way to attack the middle of the field. The second
exactly.
part, the second level, the middle of the field. There's no scheme. There's no routes that we're running that we're connected on to give anything the defense any pause. So I mean, I expect from this point forward.
And when we do have chances for completions, we drop. We get drops. Yeah.
Wow. And like I say, It's easy.
Just not.
Yeah, but like I say, it's easy just to look at the stats. It's easy to look at the box score and to say, the offense is in shambles, and it's all because of, let's say, the quarterbacks, right? That's low hanging fruit. And I'll be totally honest. I'll be totally honest that the quarterback play has been terrible this year. Okay, I can't really fault Kevin White because he only had a small sample size, but neither the People's Champ or the Minnesota Kid look ready to go at this point right now. And I'm not saying they can't be ready to go, they can't get better, but I was expecting a whole lot more just on basic football instinctual plays we made that they're not making. I got some highlights we'll show a little bit later. Doug Brown, your unit has probably been as big of a disappointment as the quarterbacks, and that's the wide receivers. Maybe we were just hoping that there was going to be this the ultimate upside for all these guys coming back who are still unproven. I didn't see Warren. I think somebody might have saw Warren in the stands on Saturday. So he didn't come back like we was hoping. We did see Jakari Caldwell. I was not super impressed by him. The other young guys, 88, get his name. He's new. I think he might have called a ball or something. Taymon Cook maybe dropped a hitch route, little curl something. There's nothing to this really be like, okay, we got some guys you got to worry about. I've never seen a wide receiver unit, Doug, that just I can't put. I don't. You tell me what I'm missing here, because I'm waiting, but I just don't see it right now.
Well, we said it before. I mean, playing wide receiver in your passing game, you're dependent upon not only the guy that's throwing the ball, but the guys that are blocking
Right.
up front. So it's a dependent position. And
Yeah.
anytime you're trying to assemble a passing game, you've got to have some fluidity. You've got to have some continuity at times. And if you're starting from scratch, it makes it even harder to kind of establish that chemistry. So, it's got to be a perfect concert, man. Everybody's got to be doing their job, and you got to get that time. And I think timing is the most important thing. And that's tough just to orchestrate out of thin air. So you got to put that work in, put that time in, and then you got to be able to do it in real time, full speed against an opponent, right? So it's one thing to do it in practice, one thing to do it out on the practice field. It's another thing to do it full speed. But you got to do it so much that you can do it with your eyes closed. So some of those timing routes, just comes with time, right? And experience and practice. So, I look for those guys to get better. Those guys you named, Jakari Caldwell, he's coming out there. It's his first game back. So you got to give him a little slack. It's tough to go out there and get it done. And, there's a little pressure there too in a big game. So, he knows that we need to make a play. So he's just going out there trying to make a big play too. Elijah Kennedy got some reps, got a nice grab.
Elijah Kennedy,
but he's got some, he's got some growing to do too. And, so it takes a while, man. Sometimes it takes a while. We'd love to come out there and sling it around and had an offense that was ready to go from day one, passing wise. As far as the passing game is concerned, but that hadn't been the case. So, that's what your bye week's for, to go back to the drawing board, get some things figured out, do some self-reflection and make some changes, right? Like, part of that is you got to make some changes. So whatever that looks like, whatever the staff and the school feels like that needs to happen in terms of improving the passing game, you kind of had a few weeks to take a look at some things, and now you've got some data to work with, and then you get better. You go and get better and come back out and get ready for the bulk of your season. And we saw this last year, man. I think it was game 3. Passing game was out of sync. One game it was you guys blaming the quarterbacks, or not you guys, but one game it's the quarterback's fault. The next game, we didn't have protection. We played a good team. And the third game, it was receivers just had drops. So there's enough blame to go around, but it takes some time to get it right. So hopefully those guys get it figured out, and get on the same page. And by now you kind of know where you stand. So
well, Craig,
always room to get better.
Craig, time is not really on on Coach Brown's side right now, because I think he's in his first mini crisis. And I'm gonna say, you guys can say I'm being overly dramatic. I do think this is a crisis. It's not like something that will he's gonna get fired or whatever. But I do think he is at a crossroads where people are questioning the biggest thing that you need as a new head coach, and that's the C word, credibility. Right? If you lose credibility in your locker room or amongst your fan base, very hard to get back. Almost impossible to get back. Now, I'm not saying he's lost it, but I'm saying people are starting to say, is he the guy who can get this fixed? Or because we all have firm memories of Lee Fobbs, and that thing never looked good, and it got worse as it went. And so that's always the low watermark for A&T fans, But we start off 0-3, and not just 0-3, because last year we were 0-3, but we knew we were just going through murderer's row. And once we came out of that, we had South Carolina State was a winnable game and so forth. Well, right now, there's nothing that you can stick your head on and say, well, we just gotta get through this and we'll be all right. Like we gotta find some stuff out. And like you said, Craig, we got the bye week. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your offensive coordinator. And I hate to start calling people out the third week into their tenure. Chris Young experiment so far has been a complete disaster. There's the only way you can say it. I mean, I can't look at A&T fan base and say we got a platform and we speak the truth and not explain exactly what it is. Doug, Craig, anybody listening, the Chris Young experiment for 3 games has been a ultimate disaster. Like there's no way you could even scripted it worse outside of those 3 long runs on busted tackles. If you take away the long runs that we had against Central, I think we had a couple long I think we had some quarterback runs against UAB. And of course, grave digger run over guy UAB. Without the running game, this I don't know how you could even defend this. But Craig, we have a bye week. If you are Coach Brown, what do you do as far as your offensive coordinator and the scheme? Because you got 7 days of no football to kind of go back to the lab. What does Coach Brown do to fix this?
Well, I think I wrote in my column last week that if things went south against Elon, then there was going to have to be an internal review of what we're doing, and we have to take and not only with coaches but also with personnel, because obviously you're not getting the production either from a schematic standpoint, and you're not getting consistent play out of the people that you put out there based upon what they've done in practice. You're going to have to take a real hard look and really do what I call an end of the year evaluation. A quarter of the way through the season. Yeah, you really need to do it. You need to take this off week to really do that, because obviously there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in there, both with what you're trying to do offensively,
right,
and the performance on the field. Neither one has. They're not in sync. They're not on the same page. It's obvious they're not on the same page. I saw guys for the 3rd week in a row. I saw at least 3 plays where receivers run the wrong route, or the quarterback makes the wrong.
Okay, I was about to say
or the quarterback made the wrong read. But there's a disconnect in there somewhere.
Craig's absolutely right. It's miscommunication, and in my opinion, anytime you have those type of mistakes, Craig, it's because those guys are thinking, right? And whether they're right or wrong, if I'm supposed to run a hook route, if I get a certain kind of coverage, or if I'm supposed to run a go, if I get a certain kind of coverage, that means I'm having to think about the coverage or read coverages either at the snap or as I'm running. And a lot of guys
I'm not
can
recognizing
it. Yeah. A lot of guys can't, right? And so you're asking me to think this is going to slow me down. I'm not going to play as fast, right? And we ask the quarterback to do that anyway. That's why you see so many offenses.
That's why I say we have to.
You see so many offenses where coaches say, "Listen, we're gonna check with me. We're gonna line up. We're gonna get the fake snap, and then we're gonna turn to the sideline, and we're gonna signal in the play based off of what I see the defense in, or whatever scheme I've got set up." So a lot of people don't like those style offenses, but it takes the thinking away from the player, right? He doesn't have to worry about reading coverage or audible or anything like that. Like when I look over there and I look at my particular coach, and he gives me the signal, the flood, whatever it is, I know what I'm running, and I just go out there and perform and run full speed. So, I mean, any position on the field, you got to be able to think, you got to be able to react and respond and think on the move. But, you don't want to be thinking too much, because then you're going to slow down. You're not playing as fast. So, I'm with you, Craig. It's too much miscommunication at times in that passing game, and guys, ball going everywhere, and no receiver to be found in sight. So I'm always going to put on the quarterback, right? I ain't gonna never put on the receiver.
But you know what? I think I'm
biased.
I'm gonna show you some video, and I think it comes down to the understanding of the rules of that play. So basically, it was like 3rd and long, the first drive, and there was press coverage, and the receiver read, "If it's press coverage, I need to do a stop route," and then the quarterback said, "If it's press coverage based on this defense, he needs to go take a 9 and take a fly. So basically, I think they both saw what was happening, but they both had a different interpretation of what their rules were on that option.
Right. Exactly.
And that comes down to coaching.
That's coaching.
What did Coach
I'm
Brown
sorry,
say?
that does come down to coaching.
Craig, what did Coach Brown say when he was on our show? We asked him about Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick had a story where he said he asked his assistant coach, why they got making mistakes? You tell them what to do. And the assistant coach said, yeah. He said, well, obviously you ain't tell him enough because he keeps making a mistake. So it doesn't. If your players are making mistakes, especially with a whole off season in the first 3 weeks of the regular season, and you still can't understand that based on this cover 3 look that you're supposed to run a fly versus press coverage, then you're not telling them enough in practice, or you're not articulating clearly enough. Either way, I'm not going to blame 19 and 21-year-olds before I blame 40 to 50-year-olds. Okay, that's just my nature. Okay, so I'm going to always put the onus on the grown people getting paid the big bucks when it comes down to football, mental mistakes. And that takes us to our second kind of segue of the night, because there was a kind of a firestorm on social media with some former players, and they were kind of talking about some of the direction of the university. It's kind of lingering from when Coach Washington was let go, and the whole moving from the MEAC to the Big South. That's the ongoing story. But this kind of, I guess, in the aftermath of losing Aggie Eagle the way we did, and then losing to Elon the way we did, it kind of just the perfect storm. And for like the last 2 days, former A&T running back Jermaine Martin, former wide receiver great Ron Hunt, and then Mike McCain kind of was jumping into it, and they were kind of going against a lot of the older Aggie alums about kind of an old school, new school debate. So we can talk about that too later on. That was that's still going on right now. I think it simmered down a little bit, but Steve Gaither, our guy Steve Gaither, pioneer for HBCU media. His outlet, they anytime they see A&T bickering on social media, they'll turn into an article. Like, this is that new media where you don't have to call nobody and do no real reporting. You just look online. Oh, somebody said something on Facebook, that's an article. Somebody said something on Twitter, that's an article. So you can make a headline out of anything. And Steve's good for doing that. He'll put A&T on blast, 10-inch font on his website. So that got national notoriety. Just the exchange between some of our former players and some of our alums. Any thoughts on that, Doug? On what you saw with the social media?
Well, just to be clear,
yeah,
I'm like Craig. I am an old school diehard Aggie, and
right.
Aggie pride till I die, right? But
yeah,
when you talk about Aggie pride, matter of fact, it starts with what I got right back here. This what's on the front of this shirt, not just that dog, but that family, right? That family, like that. And we know in our culture and in our crew, one thing you don't do is put family business out in the street. All right, we try to keep family business in-house, right? Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and everybody has a right to feel the way they feel, and usually there is some merit to that, right? And so I give those guys credit. They did. Everybody that was involved in those conversations have done a ton of things for A&T, and a part of the reason why A&T is kind of where it is today. But change is inevitable, right? And if we didn't leave the MEAC when we did, we would have left at some point. A&T is growing and is changing. In no way is it one guy's fault or one guy's decision to make that change. And we documented here on the show just how far out.
Let me put the brakes on that now. I'm gonna push back on that, because it was one guy's decision to make that.
It's not.
Yes, it was.
It's not.
Yes, it was. Who was?
It's not.
It's not.
Who's
the Chancellor. Let me interject this. The Chancellor set the tone as the direction that he, as any CEO would, sets the direction of the tone which he wants his company or his university to move in.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's the board of trustees that has the final say so over any and all these moves. They went back and forth from way back in the first initial examination happened back in 2013. In 2015, it picked up some steam, and they spent a year uh, just breaking all this down. What is going to be the best fit long term for A&T 10, 12 years down the road? And the conclusion was is that the way the MEC was set up at the time, and still is for the most part, they haven't changed a whole lot since they haven't changed the leadership, none at all, really. But that it was limited, and that A&T did not want to be pigeonholed by the one size fits all concept that the MEC was involved in. And the Celebration Bowl, as great as it, as nice as it is, as far as the players and the fans are concerned, was not going to be the begin and end all for A&T athletics, especially as far as football is concerned. This university is growing at a 7% rate every year. Now, I don't know if you realize that or not, but that's essentially adding about 1,200 students a year on average. That's what you're adding in, somewhere between 7 to 1,200 students per year. Right. At the rate we're growing right now, we're going to hit probably 15,000 students. We'll exceed that 15,000 student mark probably somewhere in the middle of 2025 or fall of 2026. That's where we're headed.
Right.
Eventually, by the end of this decade, which is not that far off, in about 6 more years, we're going to be pushing 20,000 students.
That's awesome.
There's going 20,000 students.
Now, the question.
So, ultimately, what do you think that would mean as far as having a university, HBCU that's that large? Are you going to continue to play the Celebration Bowl, or are your aspirations going to be something else besides the Celebration Bowl, and possibly by the end of this decade, beyond FCS? And ultimately, that I think is the direction that A&T perceives itself moving towards. When it will get there, I suspect it'll probably be probably in 2030 or shortly thereafter. It would not surprise me at that point.
Okay, so here's my pushback, and that was, we've had this conversation before, and even after the town hall, I thought it was articulated, as probably the best it had been at that point, with some of the vision stuff. And you talk about growth, you talk about the financial impact of the university and the community. You talk about I forget what the numbers were, but just to go back to what that whole anecdote about the Bill Belichick story with the coach. If you got people who are invested, who got skin in the game, who love this university, if they have doubt about the direction of your university and what we might be losing as we ascend to those higher heights, then coach, if he keeps making mistakes, you're not telling him enough. You have got to continue to educate and sell that vision. You can't just say, this is where we're going. And you can't. Like Chester Martin can't say, I'm going to drag y'all losers, not losers, but I'm going to drag y'all kicking and screaming to the promised land. Okay? And, forget y'all winning your hearts and minds. Y'all figure it out once we get there. If you take that approach, which you can do, I'm not saying you can't do it, you can do, just expect there's going to be a lot of people wondering along the way out loud, like we saw today. And I think that could be avoided if you would have more respect to some of the stakeholders, people like Mac McCain, people like Ron Hunt, people like Jermaine Martin, who love this university. They love the opportunity this university gave them. They love the growth that they see in themselves, but when they came to this university, they are as much Aggies as any 70-year-old person on BlueDeathValley.com. I guarantee you that, okay? Do not question their loyalty. Do not question their knowledge of their situation. They know their environment and their experience more than you did when you were and not you, Craig, but more than any person critic when they were at A&T 4 years ago.
Knowledge. You're right.
Just like Doug,
Knowledge,
right?
And they know, like you said, they know their experience.
Right.
Experience in that window. You guys play for 1, 2 head coaches, right? Since they've been, and I know they grew up around the program, but I guarantee you, I felt the same way when Coach Hayes got fired, right? I felt the same way when there were changes made that I didn't understand. Number one, because my brain's not done developing, and I'm still growing as a young man. But number two, you gain wisdom over time, right? Like you realize that you can control what you can control, and you learn to monitor what you put out about your university, right? That is what it is. And those guys know, like, we had those conversations. Those are some of the most passionate football players, you name it. Them guys care, and they always have, but they put a lot into it, and they got the rings to show, right? But the bottom line is A&T is bigger than all of us, right? A&T is bigger than all of us. And like Craig said, she's going to continue to grow. The growth ain't slowing down right now. So, you get behind the show and push, right? We're not tearing down family. That's one thing we won't do. And to the gentleman, section 109, who was screaming fire the coach, about 2 seconds away from firing him. Come on, I ain't calling no names. We're not gonna go, as they say, on the road or out of town or somebody else's house and embarrass our guys. Because what we need most, regardless of anything else, and I know those football players understand.
My counter argument is that offense is embarrassing us, though.
Listen, well, again, what I was about to say, what we need more than anything, and as former football players, are to support those guys. You know what it's like to be on the sideline and hear people hollering, fire the coach. That same coach you care about that you don't want to see fired and gone. We got some guys on our team that care about their coach too, right? So instead of being critical, it's time to be supportive. We've been saying that since before this season. The roster was no secret where we stood on the roster. The schedule was no secret.
Let me push back.
Listen. The schedule. We know who left the program, right? We know exactly.
Don't move the goalposts. Do not move the goalposts, Dougie, because me, you, and Craig we were high stakes. We were all in on this A&T football team week 1. We looked at it. We said, "Look here."
It's on the shows. You've been looking at the archives, guys. Your concern. How many weeks have you expressed concerns about what we look like up front on defense?
I said the D-line, and guess what? We had Coach Kennard on here. He said, what did he say? He said, "Little dude, don't worry. I got it. We gonna fix it."
And Coach Kennard coached his tail off Saturday. He did everything he could Saturday. He hollered.
What's up with the tape?
Yeah.
What's up with the tape?
Hey, he's into the game. I love it. He got the fingers taped so the guys can see the signals. They see the signals he's throwing in. But I love a former. I love a former player that's intense, that's into the game.
Coach Kennard had a tape on every finger.
He was ready to go. He was ready to go, man, and he coached to the last second. And I thought that was important.
Him and Jay-Z.
When Avarion made that, Avarion Cole made that interception, man, to see those guys celebrate and get behind them and continue to play through it, man. Those moments, people don't realize how special those moments are and how those moments help you build for the rest of the season, right? Yeah. So Josh Isaiah, that kid out there playing his heart out, he's been a stud since he got here, man. Those guys are getting valuable reps, man. So, the growth of a team, like Coach said, and like they've been echoing, we, us, ours. And it's fitting that I said that last week because we right here back this week, and that's who those guys have to depend on, who they have to draw from, is we, us, ours. Because nobody else knows what's going on in that building, that locker room, and they gotta dig down deep, just like those guys did last year, right? And they gotta finish out the season because there's more games to be played. There's so much more football to be played, man. So let's get behind these guys. Let's just continue to cheer for us. Yeah, it was hard as hell leaving the stadium, man. I'm keeping my head up and walking up the steps, trying to leave out of there and be satisfied with what we saw, man. That's not always the case, but I do know the sun came up the next day. Those guys are going back to work, right? We still
Aggies. That's always good.
We're still Aggies, and we're gonna support Aggies. Right. So that hasn't changed. It just guys let down a little frustration, and like we said, all of that is understood, but we got to remember to keep the main thing, right? Because when we look up and we back on the mountaintop, everybody gonna be right there partying and celebrating wherever we are, whatever bowl, playoff game.
This got to be Elon.
Whatever. right?
Let's go.
And to
I mean,
all those folks,
Norfolk,
those pundits,
big Norfolk, yeah.
for all those folks that was talking about selling Jiho tickets and how they not Jiho's not going to be as deep.
I'll take some.
Call me, hit me up. You can put it in the chat right now. We can get those tickets gone for you if you don't want to show up.
We got for real.
I got a bunch of people looking for them. So the things that we're concerned about now, to me, I mean, they're not good problems to have, but man, we've had much worse problems in the past that we had to worry about. So, you know, struggling on offense and being able to kind of narrow down what you think may be the issue. All right, at least it's fixable. Maybe not this year, but
see, look at Doug.
No. And I've said this before. This administration has a history of when it's not right, going to find the right guy or girl and getting it right. When we wasn't doing what we needed to do out in women's basketball, who do we go get? Coach Bibbs. Called up Coach Bibbs, got it right. All right. That was no mistake. That didn't just happen. Those are the same people that are in leadership right now. All right. So women's basketball went on a great run. Oh, we love women's basketball. That was strategic. All right. But they make a change with our track program. When track program took a hit, we had to make some changes, unforeseen changes. We went out and had the best run we've ever had as a track program. That was not a mistake. All right.
Sometimes
so you can argue me all you want on it. When the football program was down, Broadway, and we knew when we hired the man what we were trying to get done. The track record was there. We hired the man, and we went to new heights. So, guys, this whole we making changes, we ain't doing. Listen, A&T is gonna be A&T. We gonna do like they say. Aggie's gonna do, and we gonna get it right. So be patient, like Craig has been saying since the summer.
How fast are we going to pull the trigger? That's my question. How fast? Because look, with the basketball situation, right? We kind of
you gonna pull it after 3 games? Are you gonna pull it? Are you willing to pull the trigger after 3 games? I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you. Are you willing to pull the trigger on the coaching staff after 3 games?
Not the head coach, but I would fire. I could see myself walking in and having a hard conversation with 1 or 2 individuals right now in that coaching office and saying, I'm sorry, it's a bad deal, but I got to move forward. And we cannot move forward with you on the payroll. Thank you for everything. You got to go. And I already put this, so don't ask me that question because I can tell you exactly what I would do. And I don't want to say it right now because I might bump into him at the grocery store or something like that. But I will make a change. And
I mean, you don't put it out there now. You might as well go ahead and say it.
Chris Young.
Really.
Chris Young. Thank you for everything you've done this spring and this summer. And I know you left Elon and you gave your best shot. You brought your family across town. You probably moving to Greenfield, whatever. This ain't working. Eric Gallen, I know I had you be a tight end coach. You are now the offensive coordinator. Coach Poole, thank you so much for your dedication with the wide receivers. I don't know why you wanted to change jump ball you to super freaks. That was a dumb decision. And you're not doing a great job with teaching route running. So we're going to switch you to tight end coach. Thank you, Coach Poole. You're now coach tight ends. Coach Eric Gallen, you're now offensive coordinator. Hell, nah, I'm too busy. I can't coach quarterbacks, but I'll find somebody to coach quarterbacks. But check this out. But Chris Young has to go today. I'm sorry to say that. And I hate doing that on platforms like this, but there's nothing I can, in my heart of hearts, I cannot look any fan in the eye and say I'm a serious media person and not tell you the truth. Chris Young, from the output that we've had for 3 games, I cannot justify bringing you back for a 4th game. And that is crazy to say until you look at the stats. We are dead last in the nation in passing stats. I think maybe in total offense. But I know in passing, we are dead. We have the high point of our passing for 3 games. Let me say this to you. In 3 games, the most we passed for is 62 yards. That does not sound realistic. That sounds like I'm making that up. 16, 51, and 62 in 3 games. If you are the Division I coach, you do not get a whole year based on that. Those 3 games means you're unemployed. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but that's what the answer has to be. If And that's why I say it's the credibility issue. If Coach Brown is talking about being elite, he has to make the elite hard decision to say, I made a mistake and I have to fix this during my bye week. If Chris Young, I can't coaching quarterbacks. My quarterbacks got the worst mechanics I've ever seen. So we definitely not doing good coaching quarterbacks. Chris Young, he got to go. I hate to say it, he got to go. But so Craig, don't ask questions you want no answer to, because I'll tell you, I'm gonna tell you the truth. But
I wanted it on record. I wanted it on record because
you asked the wrong person, because I put everything on record.
I learned a long time ago. I'm a lot older. Listen, I'm a lot older than both of you guys. So I'm talking from sage experience here.
Yeah.
Be careful about what you say and what you and public pronouncements, because they have a way of coming back and biting you in the ass. Okay,
I know that.
I'll be perfectly blunt about it.
I understand that, and I don't
that wisdom,
take any
Craig.
liberty. Look, Doug, I don't take any liberty in saying that.
I know you don't.
Three games is not a three games is not enough body of work. Three games is not enough of a body of work to make that kind of a call. You can't do it based off of 3 games. Now you can make changes within your coaching staff as far as let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can make changes with it. You can make changes in who takes responsibilities for certain aspects of your game planning. You need to definitely make some moves as far as what you're doing during the week, as far as game preparation, and get and approach it from a totally different aspect. But I got an issue calling for people to be fired after 3 games. I just can't. I'm not saying that the performance. I'm not saying that the performance is great by no stretch of the imagination. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get that on record right here. I don't like what I see on offense, because I see a lot of inconsistency, and I see a lot of disorganization as far as what we're trying to do. I've said before that we don't have a clear definition, or we haven't defined ourselves offensively at all. We know we have certain aspects of the offense that we have, but it can't flow because we lack so much on the other side of it as far as throwing the football. Those are things that can be corrected. My thing is three games in 3 weeks is not, to me, enough body of work to make the grand assumption that your offensive coordinator is incompetent.
Okay,
it's just not.
Let me say this, Doug.
It's not, and it's not fair, and it's not fair to the kids, nor is it fair to Coach Young.
Okay, so Doug.
And that's my opinion. I'm on the record for that.
Yes, sir. Craig and Doug, I want y'all to jump in with this. I don't want to take over. So look, I want y'all to jump in and tell me this. Okay, it's going to start affecting recruiting, because every coach in America is saying you're going to sign with that, and they looking like hot garbage every week, and they got 62 yards. So the next couple of weeks, while you still, recruiting is 24/7, it's going to hurt recruiting, because you have no optimism to spout on. It's not like, okay, we had somebody hurt, or we have this. Like, there's nothing you can say. Just wait one more week and we'll get over the hump. 16, 51, 62. 16, 51, 62. So if we have a bye week and we come back to Norfolk and we go 16, 51, 62 by 85, right? Or 112, will you fire them then? So what is going to be the tipping point for you, Craig, to say, okay, this ain't working and let's try something different? What would, if I'm being premature, what would make you say, okay, I've given him the benefit of the doubt, I see enough, we got to go somewhere? What would be the whole season? You're going to go the whole 11 games?
I can make that assumption after probably about the middle of October. I can then make an assumption about the middle of October. Let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of offense. We lost basically all of our offense in off season. I mean, let's be honest about it. We lost all of it. We lost Tootin, we lost Berghalter, we lost Leslie, we lost a couple of offensive linemen. We lost about 90% of what we had last year as far as offense with through graduation and the transfer portal. Replacing that with what we have on the roster with roughly 47 freshmen and 34, 35 sophomores who haven't played. It was going to be rough in any event. Should we be passing for more than 50 yards or 60 yards a game? No question about it. No question about it. Are we going to be anywhere close to what we did last year as far as being able to throw the ball? Hell no. No way. Not without Fowler, not without a seasoned quarterback. It's not going to happen. But we can't. But we need to concentrate on being able to get our short to intermediate proficiency to the point to where we can move the football on a consistent basis without depending about trying to run our running backs to death and putting a strain on the offensive line.
Right.
We had some plays in there on Saturday night where the offensive line gave great protection. We just didn't execute. Our receivers and quarterbacks just didn't execute. And people, I heard people talking about, well, the offensive line isn't doing anything. If you cannot hit simple 7 to 8 yard outs or square ends or a short crossing route or even make good solid throws to running backs coming out of the backfield, if you can't execute those proficient short yardage high percentage plays on offense, as far as your passing game is concerned, your offense is stuck in the mud.
Okay.
That is correctable.
Craig, you're right.
This is what I'm saying. That is correctable.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, you lose your starting center. It was still 7-0 when Caesar went down, and people might not think that's a big deal, but to lose kind of your quarterback of your offensive line, anyway. Caesar does a lot, man, and he communicates and gets us in some good positions. And he went down, like I said, it was 7-0, and that, in my opinion, had an outcome on the game. I don't think we were the same up front. After he went down, we had some bust, and guys got the best of us in some instances. But those things add up, man.
I know A&T fans love to win. I mean, we love to win. We really do. We rise and fall on winning and losing each and every week.
That's a good way to put it, Craig. Rise and fall.
We rise and fall. When we're riding high, you can't tell our fan base anything. Right. You can't tell them jack. I mean, they're the cock of the walk. When we lose, we tend to, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this with some trepidation, but when we tend to lose, we burn the building down. Okay, we go scorched earth on players, coaches, everybody. I mean, even a water boy ain't even safe.
Not always. Not always. Not like when we lost to Duke. Everybody understood.
Yeah, we do. We did it last year. When we came out 0-3 in those first 3 games last year. Everybody half the town wanted to run Coach Washington out of the building right there. Let's be honest about it. Am I right, Doug? Am I right?
Absolutely.
Am I right? I was speaking to my brother before I went on the air. And I said, I got a feeling that this show is going to go. Let's get rid of let's cut bait. Let's just cut it all. Let's cut them all loose and let's blow it all up and start all over again. I knew that I had a feeling that was going to be the case tonight, and I wasn't, and that's why when I texted you guys, I said, are you really want to do a show tonight? Because I knew where it was going to go. I knew where it was going to go. And I'm just not. I am not a person. I am never have been a person who goes off the deep end when I hit adversity. The true test of of loyalty to me is if you can stand the storm and fight through the bad times. Everybody's with you when the times are good and you're riding high. But when you hit that rough patch, and it goes even into life, into whether it would be your personal life, your business life, professional life, or whatever. When you hit that rough patch, whether it would be with a wife, whether it be with your kids, job, family members, or whatever, you're going to have rough patches. You're going to have some bad times. And it's how you deal with that, adversity is what's going to tell in the end whether you're going to come out on the other side of it successfully or not. So if you want to push the panic button, blow it all up, great. But like I said, I let me stop because I'm getting ready to say something I'm probably going to regret later on. So let me just say like this: we will know over these next 3 ball games exactly who we are and what we have, both from a player standpoint and a coaching standpoint. And I'll leave it as that.
Okay, so A.T. Roy, thank you for not having the entire wildlife kingdom in front of your speaker. That's great. Okay, so how about this, Troy? I got to compromise. Okay, Craig has won me over. I'm gonna calm down. How about this? Let's compromise. Instead of firing the offensive coordinator, can we just fire the quarterback coach? Can we fire if we keep offensive coordinator? Can we fire the quarterback coach?
You're
Troy,
asking me that?
I'm asking you that.
Yeah. So before I answer that, man, I got like 4 things I want to talk about, but no way I'm firing. Well, no. Let me say it this way. I don't know enough about what's going on in the offense to be able to make any kind of judgments right now. I just don't know. But here's what I do know.
Yeah.
We need to fix our passing game.
So talk about Troy.
That needs to be fixed. And I'll also say that we do know our offensive identity. And I think Coach Brown has said it several times. Yeah. We want to be able to run the football. Probably the most basic thing in offensive football is to be able to run it. So I think that's where we are. But without this kind of passing game, the running game just don't work. I'll also say that, as I said many times before, unfortunately, listen, I have nothing against any of our kids, but some kids just can't execute in the positions they're in. And I don't think Zach Yeager is the quarterback that we need. He's just not accurate.
So Troy, you about my age. You're in your late 40s, early 50s, right? You have no problem saying on a national podcast that the 20-year-old, 21-year-old quarterback can't get the job done. But you will take offense to someone saying the 40-year-old offense coordinator is not doing a good job and needs to be, removed. So I don't understand how you guys can just say a kid by name. Like I said, I don't mind if you do that, but just don't take umbrage when we say, look, okay, you say you identify the problem with a quarterback. I identify the problem with somebody who's on salary, whose job is to coach quarterbacks. Okay, I don't see how one is worse than the other.
Well, I don't. So what I've seen from Zach is actual play.
What I've seen from Coach Chris Young is actual performance stats.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So what you can't really identify with Coach Young right now is it the offensive line? Is it the receivers? Is it the quarterback? So it's a lot of moving parts there, but I can zone in on Zach Yeager and see him throwing the ball behind receivers. in the
That's low hanging
ground,
fruit.
holding the ball forever and ever.
Okay.
Yeah. So those things I can see,
Okay.
and I've been seeing them actually before this coaching staff came. And so, unfortunately, I just think he's not the one. Now, do I have an answer? I don't know now. I was hoping they were gonna put Eli back out there, but I don't know what's going on with that.
Troy, just explain that to me. So how do you pull, and Doug and Craig, y'all tell me if y'all got the answer. How do you justify pulling Eli after admittedly, and I'm a big Eli, I'm a big all the Fantastic Four, Jaeger, Hook, uh, Brick Handler, and Kevin White. I love them all, right? If anybody gets the job done, I'm supporting. But how do you bench Brick Handler after 2 bad drives in one situation where he has a fumble, and then you stick with Jaeger for an entire game where he has 2 turnovers, 62 yards passing, and a whole bunch of 3 and outs? Like, what's the criteria to get benched? Somebody tell me that.
Yeah, so Coach could be. I think he's on the sideline. I saw him, Elon, I think, on the sideline. So sometimes the coach can look in the kid's eyes and see that they're just not there. And so maybe that's what he saw against Central. And of course, we don't see what they're doing in practice either.
Yeah.
It might be that for some reason Zachary looks better in practice. Guess what? Some kids or some people practice better than they play in real games, and some people play better in real games than they practice.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on there, but I know what I see in the game from Zach, and it's just not good enough. Yeah.
So who would you go with against Norfolk? Who started quarterback against Norfolk?
Yeah, without seeing practice.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna go back to Eli. But I know this. I think I'm gonna give Hooker a chance.
Baby Hook.
If I mean, but again, I don't see practice, so I don't know.
Doug.
From what I've seen, that's why I'm at.
Yeah.
Doug, Baby Hook. Me and you are biased. So if you hear any advocation for Baby Hook from Samaj Marsh or Doug Brown, understand that Alan Hooker is almost like my spiritual advisor. He helps me out with so much big stuff, and he's pretty much another uncle for Doug Brown. So we kind of and Craig, the Hooker family. So everybody is invested with Baby Hook. We want to see him. We want to see the family happy. We want to see him successful. He has a small sample size, but like I state again, against Charleston Southern, he had a touchdown. That should be on the resume. That was a drop. Okay. But Doug, do you feel comfortable going with? Could you see a scenario where Hook starts against Norfolk State?
Well, at this point, I don't know what we're gonna do. Let me go ahead and say that. But I do want to see more than one quarterback, right? It's a non-conference game.
Yeah.
This is kind of your last crack at just,
experimenting.
So, and I definitely, in that mix, I definitely want to see Kevin White Jr. Coach mentioned earlier he was one of the guys that we want to get the ball in his hands. We're going back to the state of Virginia. I think it's important to play the kids that you recruit from that state. And definitely, I think it's important to play your young kids at this point, especially if you plan on them being a part of your future. So, I would give that kid a nod, let him, have a chance to go out there and show up in front of his friends and family. But I'm going up there to win a ball game. So whoever gives me the best chance to win, that's who I want out there. And I'm going to give guys opportunities to play, right? I'm not sitting on a guy. And we talked about how quick the game can go based off those new rules. But you don't have time to sit around and wait. If I think this guy's not getting it done, then I'm going to put in the next guy, right? We're going to try something. I don't say you got another free pass, but this is the game when you can do some things. It's a non-conference game, and at this point, it's time to see what you got. So I'm sure those are conversations.
You got nothing to lose
this week. You got nothing to lose, Craig.
But okay. So Craig, how about this? So do you honestly go into the Norfolk State game and just like, okay, this is Play-Doh. I got the house's money here. I'm gonna work on some damn trick plays. I'm gonna work on some stuff that I might have to use later on in the year against Delaware. Like, do you really just go all in on figuring out this week, or do you try to still establish some type of continuity? Because you got, like I say, you can't play all 4 quarterbacks. You're gonna have to pick at least 2 of them, right? At the most. How would you approach this game, Fred?
Well, like I said before, I think these 2 weeks gives you a chance to reevaluate personnel, and I agree with Roy. And um, I think what I've seen enough work now to know that we need to give those other three guys a legitimate shot at playing time, especially going into with this 2 week period. I think it's time to, we need to see. I would like to see Hooker. I like to see Eli get back on the field because I think Eli has a lot of talent. I don't know what his mental situation is because I think it's more mental than it is physical. It's definitely more mental than it is physical. I don't, I'm nowhere, I'm not going to write him off. I'm not writing any of these kids off, but I think,
Absolutely.
if you keep going, what's the old saying? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, but that's a mark of insanity.
Right.
So, I would like to see Brick Handler get the nod against Norfolk, and I like to see Hooker and White get some meaningful snaps in that game, and see what happens.
I think you gotta. I think. Go ahead, Craig.
Go ahead.
I think you got to find a way to simplify things a little bit. We talked
Yeah.
about not making the kids think as much, but even in your play calling, man, we do a lot of. We have a lot of misalignments as well, right? Where guys are lining up on the wrong side of the field, or having to flip flop and run the other side, or switching the tight end. This stuff happens, and I know it's based off of the look they're trying to get, or trying to motion a guy behind a formation switch, but we might not be there yet, right? If it's,
I don't
there might
think
not
you
be a
are. I
language
don't
that
think
those
you are
kids
with
are
as much youth as you got.
Yeah.
right. So you have to simplify the game and make it easy for those kids where they're not thinking. And even looking back at some of that Colgate film, we saw some good plays, but we were like, man, the guy had to make a great throw, where he, it was a skilled quarterback, as you guys said, and those guys had some experience and some continuity as an offense. But, I think if you simplify it, make it so those guys don't have to think as much. You got a couple weeks to plan for it, so technically you should be in good shape with your game plan, having those extra days to prepare, and you got to go out there and execute, man. Turn it loose on those guys. I think you definitely got to play one of the quarterbacks that have the ability to make you pay with their legs. It gives you an extra advantage on offense. Holds that defender in place. Elon was kind of able to pin their ears back at times and cause a lot of pressure. And I don't think we process things enough quickly enough at the quarterback position to be effective, right? We had a few windows here and there, but it's kind of like we were going through progressions and kind of, going through our drop, kind of, I won't say practice mode, but just not quick enough, right? It's all about having some suddenness to you. And I think that's one of Hooker's strong points. Hooker plays quick, right? He plays sudden. Those guys, it's kind of in their blood, but, I saw a lot of that in Hendon, right? He just plays so fast, and by the time he's letting that ball go, he's humming it, right? And I saw Austin pick up some of those qualities over, his time at A&T. Man, he just plays fast. And we talked about the ball handling that we saw 2 springs ago when we felt good about all of those guys running read option and read zone. So
yeah, what happened to that, Troy? Troy, what happened to that? Did we just imagine all that stuff?
We're still doing some of it. It's just,
hey man, I'm gonna tell you what
I'm a pretty picture right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am at a loss for words for what's happening. I just don't understand. I really don't.
So let me show you this, because we've been beating up on Jaeger. So let me give Jaeger a little bit of love and show some context to it, because he had a lot of incompletions, but this should not have been one of them.
They're filling those gaps and creating negative plays.
Straight drop, Jaeger looking. Phoenix had a hold of him. He gets free, throws it down the field, and it is incomplete.
That was actually a great play by him. That should have been a touchdown. He stepped up in the pocket like Bryce Young did at Alabama, and threw a dime pretty much to Kendrick Christensen, and hit him in the wrong spot. It was his
He dropped it.
Yeah, let's show that.
That's your running back.
Caleb Curtin.
But that's a nice. Hey, look, and the guy who I'm sending a pink slip to. I love wheel routes because usually the linebacker is assigned to the running back, and it's so hard for that linebacker to carry you down the field. So they had a wheel route to Christensen, to Christian on a third down, and good play. And your boy Yeager kept his composure. I mean, this is late in the game. We're down 24 points, right? But this could have been a nice highlight for Yeager that we could be talking about. This is the drop.
There to make the play, Kenji Christian.
Caleb Curtin, Grimsley High School alum. One of those guys who won a state championship with Alonzo Barnett, the third.
On a wheel route.
Had Brandon Tyson beat on the wheel route.
Look, that's what you want. You want somebody to not be, have antsy feet in the pocket and to keep their head downfield. He sees this running back.
Outstanding route, but that's why he has to be.
Come on now. Listen, Craig, Doug, Troy. This is a freeze frame, but you cannot tell me how possibly does that end up on the ground? How
many opportunities does your starting running back get catching a 40-yard bomb down the field in a game? Like, that's not his skill set. I mean, he may be able to catch a ball. He may have great hands, but that's not his skill set. You see running backs drop balls like that all the time because that's not what they do.
So who you blaming? So you blaming who?
I'd much rather see a receiver in that position. If you cut this on and that was one of our starting receivers standing on that end about to catch a ball, then I feel a little bit better. I mean, I like the play call. I mean, I guess you want me to say, but because he's open, but that's what the receiver is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be catching that 40-yard touchdown pass.
Okay, so Doug, Troy.
Yeah, let me say.
Go ahead, Troy. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say that. So yes, Yeager completes a pass and makes a good throw every now and then. So in the crowd, I said, well, somebody was like, well, that was a good throw, and I said, yeah, it's probably 2 or 3 out of 10 that are good, and that's just not good enough. You can't be below 50% in throwing good passes. And so that's what the issue is. Yeah, every now and then we'll see a good one.
And Troy, you're Mr. Positive. So you're the one who gets mad when people talk bad about A&T on social media, right? You take umbrage to that. You want to keep everything in the house.
If it's not true, yeah.
Okay,
if it's not true, yeah.
I'm just saying, let's have it both ways. Because when I get mad about the baseball stadium still looking like a landfill this time next year, even though we're gonna have a dog and pony show next week with the board trustees meeting. If I get mad and I call somebody out who works there, then don't be like, well, you can't do that because you just called out Zach Yeager saying that he don't think he's a good quarterback. And I say I don't think somebody else is good at facility management. So what's the difference?
Again, I don't know what's going on I don't know what's going on in A&T's administration around the baseball field, but I know what I see from these passes from Zach Yeager.
I know what I know.
I see
you're
that.
Memorial. I know when I ride down Yanceyville,
it's 20-30%.
When I ride down Yanceyville and I see that stadium, I know what I see. Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm personally going to ride down Yanceyville and Summit with you in one of those new autonomous cars, all right? And then I want to hear all the criticism, all right? When we rolling down the street in those autonomous cars, to the state, and that's when I want to hear your opinion. All right, all of that matters. Please believe all of that matters, right?
Right. A&T needs to develop an app. Because anytime they have those autonomous cars on the road, I want to know, so I'm not nowhere around there because I don't trust that. So I want to be able to find out every time there's a robot on the street.
You can have access to it here in the next couple weeks. I think midday or something like that.
I ain't trusting that.
Yeah. So
come on.
So Samaj,
yeah,
I'm with you on the stadium. I'm disgusted. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Why? Why not? Why? What's taking so long? I don't know. But I know I see the quarterback not being on target. Matter of fact, with the tight end, with the interception. So the tight end runs out and he turns to his left. The ball is thrown behind him to his right as opposed to where he's going. He threw it to where he was as opposed to where he was going.
No, it hit him. It hit him inside the shoulder pads. I seen the video. The ball hit him inside. I don't care if it's to the left inside. If the ball hits you in the chest, inside the shoulder pads,
to the right.
Man, y'all just don't like.
He had to lean and reach back to the right in order to catch the ball.
Zach Yeager did not play. He did not play. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, if you look at it again, the tight end had to turn and lean back. Yeah, it might have hit him in the shoulder pad because he had to go back that way to get it, as opposed to when he turned, the ball hit him in the front for which way he was going to turn. Matter of fact, I think the defensive back was on his right side, so he kind of threw it where the defensive back was too. So I just don't see him being accurate enough.
Okay.
I can't say that any clearer.
All right, so we all can say this should be a catch right here. This should be a catch. Can we say that? This is a dime. This should be a touchdown. We can't agree on that.
Okay. Right, yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah,
let it go. So
defense, and he just stuck it.
Tough, man. That's a contested catch, man, for a running back.
Wait.
Contested catch.
Yeah. Did he not hit the ball? Didn't the defensive guy hit the ball?
Yeah, that's something like you have
route,
free
but
frame, but
that's why he has to be the last line of defense, and he just stuck it on the wheel route. Outstanding route, but that's why he has to be the last.
Where did he touch that? Where did he touch that? That ball bounced
off right now.
That's his left hand. Right there.
Look, listen. You can say what you want about Elon and their pass defense. Those kids were sound. They have a good pass defense. They played Wake Forest, who is a quality team, and they played a Gardner-Webb team who we know how good they can be on offense passing the football. Those kids are talented, and they actually had some moments against Wake Forest where they played well. I think you'll see it down the line as a playoff team. We actually held them defensively. We didn't do a bad job at times. We just couldn't get anything going on offense. So in 3 weeks, you played your first game without your defensive coordinator, right?
Right.
In the second week, you didn't give up a passing touchdown. Now, granted, you didn't do as good as you want to do, but you didn't give up a passing touchdown. And in your third week, you had moments, right? You had moments. You started to come alive a little bit. So when Craig is saying and saying 3 weeks isn't enough time, man, it's like those are three different teams in those 3 games, right? And that's just on the defensive side of the ball, and they're still figuring stuff out. But at times,
no, I agree on that. So Jay-Z and Coach Kennard and all the guys on defense, no one is calling. You don't see people with pitchforks talking about fire the defensive staff. We see what they're trying to do. We know that they had some bad decisions when they constructed this roster. They had maybe a little bit too much ego, and they thought they could make the defensive line talent work for their scheme. And they figured out real quick that was wrong. But I cannot say that they have not done something to make that chicken salad, okay, based on what they received. So you can have the same argument with the offensive side, and they look, no, of all, not you, Troy, but of all 3 of us on this panel, on this board, no one said, okay, fans, we're right at the start of kickoff. We play UAB in a couple of days. Prepare yourself for the worst offensive showing in A&T history. Ain't none of us say that, right? So we can't move the goalposts now. Like, yeah, we don't have no running back. We don't have no wide receiver. No, we don't have no quarterbacks.
But we did. What we did say is we had no clue what to expect. Everybody said that. Even the next week after that, we said, guess what? We still don't know what to expect. That is exactly what we said. We did not go out there and say, listen, we got an offense that's gonna light it up. Nobody said that. We recognized what we lost. We hoped that some of the pieces that we had, that we could put something together, and we believed in some of the talent we had at quarterback. But we never went out there and was like, yo, don't expect a drop off. That is not what we said. If anything that we echoed was support. This team and this program is gonna require your support. We said that from day one. That has not changed.
Craig, did we say we got this veteran offensive line that's like too deep everywhere? Did we not say that?
They were going to be our strength.
Yeah, we had offensive. The offensive line. Good offensive line. Really good running backs, which we do have.
Yes.
But nobody anticipated
tight ends.
Tight ends. We're solid. We still have good tight ends. but nobody anticipated the breakdown of the passing game between with the quarterbacks and the receivers. Neither one of those positions has played well this year.
And when you asked me at the beginning of the show, what would I do? I told you the quarterback, the quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, and the wide receiver coach. Those are the three people that I will reassign either to another position or to another place of employment. And that, that was my. If we can agree on that those are the three issues.
So I think the bigger question is, when you say reassign, are you expecting that guy to come in and implement a new system, or are you just giving him play calling duties and we're running the same system? That's a big difference.
So I believe that we run
huge difference.
Okay, Craig, I believe that we run so much diverse stuff since I've seen a little bit of everything, right? We haven't done like triple option, but we've done 2 tight end sets. We have 2 guys in the backfield, 4 wide. So we've done a whole bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff to choose from. I just believe that one, we are not like Coach, like I keep talking about that Bill Belichick story. We are not explaining what we want these kids to do well enough to where they do it. I think we're not coaching well enough to get these guys to perform, and I think we need another set of eyeballs on this to call plays and to say this is going to be our goal line scheme. It's going to be our red zone concepts. I think we just need a complete overhaul, and I think.
But if those kids are already confused on what you're doing, that's what I'm saying. Are you implementing a new offensive system? Are you doing things totally different? Or are you just saying, listen, I just don't like the way you're calling the plays. I like the plays that we have. I don't like the sequence that you're putting them in. I don't like when you're calling certain plays. Because if you're saying I'm going to install a new offense in the 3rd week of the season or in my bye week, that's not easy.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
But what we have and the different looks you're seeing are just different personnel groupings, right? And every team in America has those personnel groupings. So it just comes down to a matter of you believing in the next guy to call plays. So now it comes down to, why did you believe in that guy to call plays more than this guy from the start? If he was that good at calling plays, you'd have chose him to be your offensive coordinator from the start. So there's something in there that they got to figure out as a staff. And maybe they already know what the problem is. Maybe there's a hang-up. Maybe there's a difference in philosophy. Maybe there's a miscommunication. Whatever it is, that's what your bye week is for, to figure it out. But I would come out with a different mentality or an established philosophy, whether I choose a new coordinator, replace a guy, demote a guy. Everybody needs to know what direction we're planning to go in. And I don't just mean, we want to run the football. Everybody in the country knows we want to run the football. I mean, listen, we're going to be quick game, 3-step. We're going to get the ball out. We're going to move, whatever it takes. You got to have some type of philosophy, and those guys got to get excited about it and buy back in, right? I don't want those guys to lose any buy-in based off of criticism of the offensive coordinator. They got to be on one page, one accord. Whatever we're going to do, we got to get it cracking. All right, so and that hopefully that involves a passing game. You can't be one-dimensional, and you'll see teams starting to take advantage of us on that end. But there's room to grow. Like I said, those guys are young. Those receivers are young. There's stuff going out, and you hadn't played college football before. We got some guys that hadn't played a lot of snaps, man, and you just gotta figure it out. You gotta see that film and correct some mistakes. So those guys will get better.
94. Jump in there, man. First of all, how you been doing, man? How's Cardinal Gibbons treating you this week?
They're looking like a lesser version of us right now, to be perfectly frank with you.
Man, you can't win for losing.
Roseville beat the brakes off of them last week. So, I mean, it's I don't know. I might be bringing some bad karma or something like that right now. But it's man, this is one of those situations where, we really, really, really have to be patient, I guess. I know Coach Brown talks about being elite, but if we are being frank, we're being honest.
Yeah.
Right now we're inept.
Yes.
As opposed to being elite. We are inept. That there's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are blaming our quarterbacks. They have, some part to share in it. I think our receivers have some part to share in it. I think our line has something to share in it as well. I know a lot of people are focusing in on the offense. Hear what, Doug is saying about the defense, and I'm seeing that they are making progress. But here's the bottom line with that.
Yeah.
Even on their best day, the teams know that we're going to be going up against. They can just line up, go straight ahead, and they're going to get 5 yards a pop. That's the bottom line. I mean, we just have to be patient and let Brown, figure this thing out over the long haul. And I believe that he's going to get it together. But, guys, right now, we're just not a good football team. And he said it. That's
all right, 94. 94, real quick. Tell me where the next win comes from. All right, September 30th, Norfolk State. October 7th, Villanova. October 14th at University of Delaware. October 21st at University of Richmond. October 28th, Hampton for their homecoming.
Richmond's here. Yeah, Richmond's here.
Richmond's here. Okay, sorry. Richmond's here. November 4th, G-Ho against Townsend. November 11th. Oh, shoot. November 4th is my anniversary. November 5th. Hey, Doug, what we going to do?
Hey, man, come on. Amar, you just now figuring that out? You just now making
plans? Oh, my goodness gracious.
Thought I taught you better than that, man.
Oh, stop the presses. My anniversary's on G-Ho this year. Oh, good night. Okay.
You're going to have to get a room at O. Henry.
Oh, man.
Let's figure that out, Craig. That's why they put the schedule out early, Craig. They put it out way early. We get the CAA.
You better go.
That's why I got married. That's why I got married in July. Okay, that's why I got married before football season started.
Hey,
the end of July.
Forget this offense and this quarterbacks, man. We got a serious crisis that we need to figure out. Hey, nation, we got a problem. Forget about the football team.
You better be checking on the Grandover right now. As soon as we done tonight, you get on the phone and call in and see what you can work out with the Grandover. And know you're going to fuck over 1,000 at least for a night.
Why would y'all get married during football season? I don't understand.
Hey, it's easy to remember the date, man. 11/5/11, right?
I know, but so that's
okay. Sunday 5th, man.
Do you think my wife let me go to G-Ho on Saturday and celebrate our anniversary on Sunday?
Hell no.
Here you go, Phil. This is another case of I don't know what's going on in your relationship to be able to make a prognostication about that. Only you know that.
You might get away with the game, but after the game, 5:30, that's it. Do you want me to check on the Grandover for you, or do you want me to check on the O. Henry? What do you need?
What about the Denim Inn on Battleground? They still got that little rinky-dink hotel on Battleground, Denim Inn. I might need that spot. They might have some room. All right, so guys, let's get back. All right, I'm gonna figure my whole marriage thing out later on.
Hey, this means
so
you got
let's go back to it.
Hang on a second. This means you got a ticket available, right? Oh, you're media. My bad.
Yeah.
So you were asking about our next win?
Yeah. So November 4th, Towson State. November 11th, University of Rhode Island, and November 18th is Campbell University. So when's the next win coming from? I don't see it, man.
September 30th.
So we'll get one
right.
next
September 30th.
Okay. And so if we don't get Norfolk, then that's going to be Lee 5. You think we're going 0-11? If we don't get Norfolk,
I hate to say it, it's a real possibility. I think Doug hit it best. This bye week is going to tell the tale of what our trajectory is going to be for this season. It really is. But I think we can handle Norfolk, and hopefully we can build some momentum.
Yes. So let me say this though: what if we turn this passing game around that we get 150 yards a game? It's going to make a huge difference in what we do.
Yeah.
We'll be able to run the ball better. We'll be able to stay on the field longer. Our defense won't be on the field as much. Man, if we could do something like that, somehow, it could change the fortunes of a lot of our games that we have left.
It definitely helps, but what happens though when our opponents get the ball, and again, and this is what bothers me, we're not talking about this enough. teams are having their will. They're being able to do what they want to, just pounding the ball.
And you know what? And Coach Brown
no
said,
doubt. That equation changes if he can throw the football. They don't get the ball.
Exactly. If that defense is not out there, if that defense does not have to suffer through consistent 3 and outs, and you're playing 2 possessions a quarter versus 4 possessions a quarter or 5 possessions a quarter, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Then your defense is fresh by the time you get midway in the fourth quarter. You got good legs. You can't do it when you can't do it when your team is your offense is going out there and first 4 possessions can't even pick up a first down or barely picks up a first down, and you're right back out there.
Yeah. And if you score, then the other team kind of tends to want to throw the ball more instead of running. So it's just a change in the balance of the equation of how this thing will work. And our running game is outstanding. We don't have a passing game, so this.
Can I bring some levity to the conversation real quick?
Please.
Doug brought up, whether or not we're changing the scheme or whatnot.
Yeah.
I jokingly said this in the chat or in the forum, but can we call Bill Hayes and just see if we can do a throwback to the wing tee for the remainder of the season?
Listen, you know what? That's not crazy because we only got like one receiver who can catch the ball. So let's just put one guy out there, have everybody else be blocking, and use that running game. Listen, at this point, there is no silly questions because the solutions that have been put forth thus far have been ridiculous, right? Like
I don't think we have the skill set to do it. Offensive linemen, running backs, or quarterback. Those are special kind of people that can move and block, like for that running game and those running backs and that, especially that quarterback.
That's the only thing we do well is run the ball. I mean, what?
To be able to run the wing tee though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, look, guys. So I was gonna show some more video, but y'all seen the game. I don't play doing that no more. So look, we got 3 minutes because I'm getting out here. I got to figure out this damn November 4th. No one told me. And that's why I don't understand how I got friends like this, because like no one said, "Yo, does that date ring a bell?" This is September the 30th, September the 20th, and my anniversary is November the 5th.
Hey, can I make my 4th point?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right, so I'm going back to the beginning conversation of our former players.
Yeah.
Jermaine is not the first one to talk about we sold out on the culture. I will tell you that Tariq Cohen did about the same thing a while ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So it's nothing really new. But I kind of waited around before I said anything to all of those guys. And I mean, Jermaine, Mac, Ron Hunt, Trey. I can't remember the tight end that we had a few years ago that transferred from Temple.
Yeah.
And so what I said to Jermaine and Mac was, frankly, it looks to me like you all don't know quite a bit about what went on.
No, don't say that. Don't say that because you don't know no more than they do. So don't take that part.
No, I do. Okay. Let me say this.
How you know? How you know more than what they do?
Here's what I mean. Jermaine said in his first post, the AD made the decision because of money. It was about more than money.
But listen. It
was about that. It wasn't just about money.
But that's what they determined.
And he said, hang on a second. Okay. And he said he didn't consider culture. They did consider culture. Matter of fact, one of the ways they said they were going to help with the culture is we were going to continue to play HBCUs. Right. Earl Hilton came to Charlotte and told us, hey, I'm a white guy. I can't be in your shoes. I understand. I'm aware of the angst that you all have around this. Yeah. But then he told us a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't out in public square. That, man, if you heard some of it, you'd probably say, yeah, this is why we left the MEAC. Trey said that.
So why not have that same speech to the stakeholders who like Jermaine Martin and Elijah Bell and everybody else who's questioning it? Why not have the same dignity and the same respect that they have at the the Charlotte AAF meeting? Why not have that with the former alumni football players?
I don't know I don't know what all they did, but here's what I'll say is they didn't get to everybody. They came to our meeting. Everybody didn't come to the meeting. Everybody didn't see and hear it. We've had presentations from the chancellor, from the AD, question and answer periods. There are so many people making comments, and I say, oh, well, maybe you didn't see this, or maybe you don't know about this or that. And so a few of them have said, oh, you know what? You're right. I'm not as connected as I need to be. I'm glad you told me. Now, Trey, the tight end, said that our facilities, I think, are trash. So what the position that I had with him was, of course, number one, I know he came from Temple, FBS, right?
Tulane.
Facilities and all that stuff, right?
I think it was Tulane.
Wherever it was, it was FBS, right?
Yeah.
So my question to him was, well, did you look at the other MEAC schools to see this and compare them to ours? I think you'll have a whole different view of staying in the MEAC related to facilities when you compare them to what we have. Ron Hunt talked about strength and conditioning coaches leaving, and he was basically saying they didn't get fired. He was basically saying they left because of money. So I said, you know what, Ron? I agree. I'm really surprised at the salary we were paying. But have you looked at our salaries now to see what we've done and where we changed? And then this is the last thing is, oh man, somebody said something about the coach's office, and they said our weight room, and I was like, wait a minute, didn't we upgrade and do some changes in the weight room 2 or 3 years ago? Yes, we did. And guess what?
We replaced it last year.
Guess what? Within the last 3 months, guess what we did? In his contract,
coach's office,
Vince Brown's contract said upgrade, change, and do things in the coaches' offices, put up Hall of Fame stuff, NFL player stuff. And so I asked him, have you seen it? Because they're out here saying things that are wrong. And that's simply the bottom line, that they don't know some of the stuff. I don't know if anybody's told them, if they've asked, that kind of stuff.
But Troy, let me push back though. And then we're going to get out of here, give 94 Doug and create the last word. But Troy, you say that, right? But you have to concede that they might have had one-on-one meetings with the athletic director that you were not privy to. And they might have an experience being inside as a student athlete that you are not privy to as an alum. So they might have, just like you have a certain amount of information that you feel is pertinent, they have real world boots on the ground information that they feel is pertinent. I can't discount what a student athlete says just because I'm a 48-year-old alum. Okay.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So let me go back again, because all you got to do is break down what he said. Earl Hilton made the decision. Earl Hilton did not make the decision. They had a committee. They had a committee that went out and did research. But they had the board of trustees. They had Chancellor Martin. Matter of fact, I'm going to contend that Chancellor Martin is probably the biggest driver here. And here's what I mean. Chancellor Martin has said, I want to participate at the highest levels of wherever I'm participating in all that we do. We see that he was trying to move Winston-Salem State to FCS. But what he's saying there is FBS. And so that's his thing. The board of trustees is probably on board with him, but Earl Hilton, he gathered information. He might have given his position, but he was not the one that made that decision. And it wasn't just about cost. Exactly. It was about students being in class. It was about a better conference, to tell you the truth. In addition, we gained every one of our football games, men and women's basketball games, available for our folks to be able to see. The MEAC still doesn't have it. We got that now with Flow Sports. We got CBS. We got this other organization that's putting our games on in all these 7 or 8 cities. MEAC and the SWAC are nowhere near that. Matter of fact, they were touting the fact that Jackson State this year got all their games on ESPN Plus. Just Jackson State. Now maybe Florida A&M too. But man, they're wrong in a lot of ways. And that's all I'm saying is what they say in particular things are wrong. And so, yeah. Okay.
And I'll try to invite.
Yeah, to do with who I am.
Right. I invited Jermaine Martin to come on the show. I sent him a link. I don't know if he got tied up or something, but he said he wanted to come on and talk about it. But we, like I say, any former player or current, not current player. I ain't talking no current players, y'all. might be talking crazy. So any former player or coach or administrator, y'all got a free reign. Anytime we have an Inside the Valley or Blue Death After Dark, the invitation is always open. We want to hear from people who've actually worked and contributed and built this university up to the great illustrious place it is right now. And we appreciate all your efforts. If we could, even people I criticize, Chris Young, at least you tried. Okay, I don't think you're doing a good job, but at least you put the blood, sweat, and tears in for these many months, and you gave it the old college try. Okay, 94, Doug and Craig. So good 94. Give me some parting words.
Just going to reiterate what I said earlier. I mean, right now is the time that we just have to be patient, give Coach Brown and his staff the opportunity to do what they need to do, and we can look over this over long term. I mean, as bad as it is, and it is bad, I just don't think 3 games right now is enough to, run around with our hair on fire. I mean, I think we are a bit over the top. I do want to see some improvement, but we just have to be patient. We don't have what we thought we had.
There you go. All right, Dougie.
Hey, you know me, it's all about the players, man. So next game is the most important game.
Yeah.
The one in front of you. So you guys continue to get better, keep working. Tune out the noise, right? Tune out the noise. Get off social media. Stay out the stands. When you're in the game, man, give it your all to the zeros on the clock. Nobody needs to see the front of your chest. We just need to see the back of your jersey, right? Mom and daddy going to be there at the tunnel to hug you and love on you at the end of the game. So keep your focus, guys. Stay locked in. Cut the chatter. And just give it your all, man. Everything will work out fine. I promise you if you just give it your all. And coaches, keep your nose down. Keep grinding. Don't listen to this guy over here in the corner, man. He don't. Hey, he's a straight shooter, man. He call it like he see it, but
hey, Doug, it's Craig's fault because we could have went the whole show without saying nothing. Craig gonna roll the dice and put me on the spot. Craig knew what he was doing. Craig knew what he was doing.
No,
you
man,
picked the wrong one, Craig.
Well, it tells you that I'm not afraid of the answer. I'm not afraid to answer. I'm not afraid to ask the question.
You ain't afraid of nothing.
But the thing is,
that's why we love you.
But I think everybody just this is a bye week. Let the team do what they're gonna do. Let the coaches do what they get paid to do, and everybody take a deep breath. Go out and do like I'm gonna do. Go out and cut my grass, manicure my lawn, take care of some business around the house. Sit back and watch a little bit of college football this weekend, and then I'll start worrying about Norfolk State next week when I take a busload of Aggies to up to Norfolk, and we're coming in force. So get ready for it, and I'm just looking forward. Rob Broadway used to always say had a saying, and still to this day it sticks in my mind. There's a reason why the windshield in your car is so big and the rearview mirror is so small.
Yeah.
Why? Because everything that can affect you is in front of you, not behind you. I'll leave it as that.
Good stuff,
Wish everybody a safe weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
Good stuff, CT. I love you guys.
Can I put a plug in real quick?
Please.
Samaj, can I put a plug in real quick?
Sure. Yes, you can.
So this Saturday, the volleyball team is they're doing an awareness thing related to the young lady who passed last year from the brain aneurysm. And so they want to they're inviting people to come out for that.
Yeah.
They play Hampton. The match is Hampton against Hampton at 2. Yep, at 2:00. So I'm going to be up there, and I'm trying to get my kids to invite people to get people to go over there. And I'm going to send it out to the Facebook groups that I send it to. Yep.
Okay.
2:00 the team was Shabazz. Matt, how about this? I was at the match. Me and my daughter were at the match when she went off the court with that terrible headache related to that aneurysm, and found out a few days later she passed. We went to Campbell for the tournament match. Yeah.
Oh, Damn, that's okay. So that's all. Try to support that this weekend. 2:00 Saturday at Corbett Sports Center. No, more gym.
More Jim.
More gym. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. We gotta get out. It's already 9 minutes past. But it's been I don't know. I don't know if we came to any good solutions, but at least we're gonna try to calm down. But oh boy, it's gonna be a long
passing game.
We gotta fix that passing game.
Really?
I'll be there Monday. We'll be at the press conference next Monday. We'll have some answers from Coach. Hope he came back. He's in the shop now. He's been kind of quiet. Usually he's on social media every other day. But he's been kind of quiet since Elon. So hopefully he'll have some big announcements, at the press conference on Monday. I'm gonna ask. So if he tells it, I'll relay it. But till then, for A&T Roy 94, Doug Brown, and the president, Mr. C.T. Craig Turner, I am Samaj Marsh. This has been Inside the Valley. See you next week. Peace.
Doug,
He pride.
He pride.
Doug, let's go get Josh.
He pride.